Hey guys, Rascal here, and today I'm reviewing the upcoming, well, it's not really a review, because it's not out yet, but I'm going to give my thoughts on the upcoming live-action Avatar Last Airbender series. Now, yes, I have covered the live-action movie from M. Night Shyamalan before, and we have covered it, me and Mama Entertainment have covered it on Paul's Animation. However, for a while now, Netflix has been working on a live-action series based on Avatar. Supposed to be covering season 1. And a while back, the creators of the original Avatar series left the project. Netflix is still doing the show, but the creators left and said that whatever happens with the show, they had nothing to do with it. And seeing the new things for it, I kind of see why. Now, in case you don't know, yes, Netflix is still doing a live-action Avatar series and it's supposed to debut sometime next year. And at first, people were actually excited because, after Shyamalan's disaster, the creators are going to be on this, so it should be great. Well, they left, so now it's not going to be. It's like, oh, great, that's just great. So, what's wrong with this new version? Well, everything. Everything is wrong with it. And I'll explain. What they decided to do with this show is they're going to basically reimagine the series. You know how the animated series was pretty much perfect in every way for storytelling, character development, world building, plot progression, character development for the villains and the heroes. Yeah, they're not doing that now. They're just going to completely change the entire story. The whole thing is changed. The Avatar story, don't even think about it. Forget even, hey, they didn't keep this accurate. They didn't keep that accurate. You're not going to be doing that because the entire story has been changed altogether. It's kind of like with, they did with Bleach, where instead of a whole story arc, you got a one-shot. Or Artemis Fowl, where they just threw out the book and just made something else entirely different. So that's what they're doing with this new version. They're throwing out the series, they're keeping the namesake, and they're updating it, and they're modernizing it. By modernizing, I mean, they're not going to have it take place in this rural fantasy world, where, there was no technology, it was clearly in a different time period. They're not doing that. It's going to be modern day now because of how they describe the world. It's a modern update on it. Now, the regular characters, at least some of them have come back, of course. Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Zuko. I know you're probably thinking, well, what about Iroh? I don't know. They don't really mention him at all. My mom said they're probably going to fuse Iroh with Zuko's dad and try to have a fleshed out character with him, which makes no sense. But, yeah, there's no mention of Iroh in here. So, what they have in here for the plot, it sounds kind of the same. Aang has to defeat the Fire Lord. Fire Nation's taken over. He has to defeat the Fire Lord before summer comes, and he has to stop Sozin's comet to save the world. That is the same, but everything else in it is practically different, besides being in modern day. You know how, bending was common in the show? It was a pretty common thing that a lot of people had, like, not everybody was a bender, but it was rare for people not to be benders. Well, they don't call it bending anymore. They call them supernatural powers, mystical powers, superpowers. It's like, what? It's just bending. Why is that categorized as the supernatural? They didn't treat it like the supernatural. They had the supernatural in here. And funny enough, they don't really mention the supernatural in the description. So yeah, they don't bend, they have mysterious powers. They don't mention bending the elements. They're just going to have mystic cosmic powers. And it's not a common thing anymore. It's new. It's a special ability people will suddenly develop under peer pressure. Like X-Men or something. It's like, oh gosh. So, yeah, Aang is going to have mysterious powers. Katara has mysterious powers. Sokka still has no powers. I'm surprised they left that. And Zuko has mysterious powers. All these characters except Sokka are going to have mysterious powers. So bending is no longer a common trait for a lot of these people in this universe. It is now something that special people have. Why they haven't revealed yet. But these kids have it, and that's just the storyline. They made, Katara a little older than Aang. She's about 14. Zuko is now 16. So there's speculation that this series might actually have Katara and Zuko together. I'm not happy about that at all. If it's true. I mean, I know there are plenty of Zutara fans out there who would be totally fine with it, who've been shipping them for years and finally get a version where they have it, but that's not the version, that's not the story we know. Changing who she ends up with probably would change the whole show forever. Heck, that would affect the legend of Korra as we know it. That would affect the Airbenders as we know it. Heck, there can't be really a Legend of Korra series. So, if they even decide to do that. But, getting too ahead of myself. But yeah, they've changed the ages. The personalities are different. It says Aang is not a monk now. He's got a regular family. He's adopted. He's just a fun-loving, sort of fun kid. And he has self-esteem issues now. And he just wants to be normal. Which I guess, in a way, does line up with the original show. But here it just sounds like almost every other Disney movie you've seen where it's just a kid, a normal kid, thrown into fantasy, and they keep doing this for the next 50 movies. Katara, I don't know about Katara. She doesn't sound the same. Her mother isn't taken out by a Fire Nation from the Southern Raiders. She's taken out by mysterious powers. Mysterious supernatural forces take her out too. It's like, what's with you in the supernatural? And then she gets powers. They don't say water bending, it's just powers. She has a sort of uncomfortable fighting thing with her brother Sokka. Sokka has no powers. His character is supposed to be the same, being the funny guy, but deep down he's complex, I guess. And they kind of go at each other because she doesn't like that he's overprotective of her, even though the entire point of his character was because she took care of Sokka because of what happened to the mom, so she kind of took her place in terms of taking care of her older brother. But now Sokka, and when Sokka's older, he wants to be protective of her because that's his job as a big brother. But now in this version, she doesn't like it in the slightest. I mean, she was annoyed by it sometimes, but it was very clear why he was doing it. There was never any animosity or jealousy or annoyance with it. It was very clear why he did it to the character and to the audience, so there was no problem with it. But now apparently there is, so he can't be protective of her anymore. And then you got Zuko. Zuko is no longer a prince. He is not the prince of the Fire Nation. His father is not the Fire Lord anymore. He's a regular military man, a military general, and Zuko is just the son of a military general. And he's got conflicting emotions, which they reveal way too soon. Is that, he's been taught to be tough as nails and take no prisoners and do whatever it takes to get to the top, but he's conflicted because he's really deep down a nice guy and he doesn't want to hurt others. And it's like, so he's already got the redemptive arc coming out already, and the character hasn't even been out yet. So they kind of just changed Zuko altogether. He's no longer a royal prince. His father's a military man. The powers they don't have bending, they have powers. And apparently he and Aang are rivals now on a project. I don't know what the project is. I can't tell if it's for school or the government or what. But yeah, the entire storyline has been changed. They haven't revealed any more things since I've released this video, but they've apparently they have allegedly released who's going to play the characters, and they don't look really anything like the characters in the show. Aang is probably the closest, but no one else really comes close to looking like the people. And they just keep doing it over and over. I mean, we already knew it was gonna suck. We had some high hopes because the creators were behind it, but it seems like now they're gone. It's even worse than before. So it's back to being, oh great, another live action. Just don't do the live action. Just cancel it. You hadn't hired anybody till now. Don't do the series. You're already doing Powerpuff Girls. You're screwing that up. You can see it being screwed up. It's going to be a disaster. So you're going to screw up live action Avatar. Because every time they do a live action adaptation, it sucks. Every single one sucks. Just about every single one sucks. You rarely have one where it sticks to the source. And Netflix is just going to change everything you know about Avatar. And the weird thing is, both series, the animated one for Avatar, Last Airbender, and Legend of Korra, are available on Netflix. So you have the show with you. Why are you changing the whole thing? You kind of have the complete rights to see exactly what you're going to adapt, but you're going to change everything. So, what do I think about this? I think it's going to suck. I have no hopes for this. I will probably roast this thing, or me, Mama Entertainment will roast this thing once it comes out. But aside from that, I have no high expectations for it. It will probably be something interesting to see because it's some straight out of fan fiction. And no disrespect to fanfic writers, because a lot of them work very hard on their stories, whether they are for animation, live action, or just their own take on a story. But not every fanfiction is fantastic, and unfortunately this does not showcase a good type of fanfiction. Heck, a lot of them have been turned into movies now. So yeah, I have no hopes for this. I don't think it's gonna be good in the slightest. I don't want to see it. I don't. But I'll watch the first episode so I can just make fun of it, because it's just gonna be a complete nightmare. And one more thing I will bring up for these reviews for these live action adaptations, I've noticed each one has gotten worse than the last. Live action Fullmetal Alchemist was bad. Live action Bleach was worse. Live action Avatar was horrendous. Live action Artemis Fowl was insufferably offensive and insulting. And then you got live action Avatar, which doesn't even bother following the source other than the name. So each one is getting progressively worse than the last. I think it's time to stop doing live action adaptations until you learn, Hollywood, to just stick to the source and make something people like and bring in the book or the comic or the game or the show to the big screen, and just translating that and keeping it as it is. It's not going to work out. So that's pretty much my thoughts on live action Avatar. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you actually still look forward to this, or are you disappointed as I am and you just don't want to see it and you know it's going to be a train wreck? Let me know below, and I'll see you guys next time. Later!